Hi, it is day 4 of our challenge. So today, if you have not been participating, feel free to join in. You can go to the wellplannedkitchen.com/summer7 for the free printable and a bunch of meal plan ideas and things like that. Day 4 is today, and today we're listening to THM podcast number 11. We are brainstorming store-bought foods to help you stay on plan, like Lily's, pre-cooked brown rice, things like that. So I've talked a lot about this already in this challenge. Being prepared on THM is absolutely necessary, and it's wonderful. And being prepped, I even have a full book of meal prep ideas that you get free when you join my boot camp for things for THM that help you make things so much easier. You have to be prepped, but prep doesn't always look the way you think it will. Like we talked about last time, sometimes your prep ahead stuff is not going to work out. Sometimes you won't have time. So it's just important to develop the skill of staying on plan, even if you don't have time to prep, even if you don't have time to meal plan. And something that is one of my life mottos that I try to pass on to my clients whenever possible is the even if scenario is usually the best. It's kind of like, being a believer, saying that I will praise God even if things go this way, or even if this goes wrong in my life, even if fill in the blank, or God is good all the time, even if this happens to me, or even if I'm in a tough circumstance. And from those big scale things, that also translates to smaller scale things, like you can apply those principles to your day-to-day life. Even if I don't have this going on or that going on or that in place, I will make my bed. Even if I don't have room in the budget, I'm going to do this one thing that's really important to me. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to earn extra money, get it in somehow, things like that. So when that translates to Trim Healthy Mama, I take my life motto and I say, I will stay on plan even if fill in the blank, even if I don't have time. And that's what my boot camp is all about, actually helping people stay on plan and say, even if you don't have time, even if you don't have energy, even if you don't feel like cooking, even if you don't think you can do it, boot camp is all about helping you get centered and get on plan and stay on plan and prepare for any eventuality to stay on plan. So today we're stocking up on those pre-cooked items that we have already discussed earlier in the week, just to help us stay on plan, even if we don't have time to prep. That's the goal for today. Get a few things. If you don't have time to shop, like I've mentioned before, you can go to get a grocery pickup order or have groceries delivered or whatever it takes. Try to stock up on a few things or identify those things in your pantry, freezer, and refrigerator that can help you out in this situation. So some other pre-cooked ideas might be Progresso light soups that are on plan. If you're in my boot camp, you have lists of which ones work. If you maybe don't have time to make a dessert, grab some Lily's chocolate, find things in your cupboards that work. Wasta crackers are good examples. Things just that are quick and easy that you can grab for those times that you don't have time to prep anything, you don't have time to cook, you don't have time to plan. On plan foods only, of course. So that's the goal for today. I was going to answer another question that I got. I know that a lot of people were getting ready, gearing up to go into this next boot camp session. And I have quite a few people who have signed up that are not in boot camp with me yet because the next session starts June 15th. So I got the question from one of those incoming boot camp members. What do I do if I get off track? What should I do if I am doing the 7-day challenge, but I have an off-plan meal? That happens a lot, and that's okay. It's in boot camp, of course, we're focusing on staying on plan for 6 weeks straight. So we have a ton of tips and strategies to help you stay on plan, but you haven't gotten those yet. So what I'm talking about today is if you're doing this 7-day challenge in preparation for joining boot camp, what do you do if you mess up a meal? I don't want you to wait. I don't want you to start over tomorrow. I don't want you to start over Monday. I don't want you to start over next month. I don't want you to go back to day one. I want you to pick yourself up and keep going. Once you get to boot camp, if you join boot camp, and answering this question for someone who is in the next session, I can reassure you, I have a meal plan for if you get off track. I have all of the tips and strategies. I have step-by-step directions to help you get back on plan immediately. But for now, while you're waiting to get in there and get all that information, I will tell you that the people that I work with who are most successful on this plan are the people who get back to it every single time. And the sooner you get back on track, the easier it is. A lot of times I find that people will eat one off-plan meal or snack, and then they just tend to get what I call a case of the might as wells and say, okay, well, I had this one thing. I might as well have this next thing. And then I might as well have this other thing. And then I might as well do something else. And I have 3 hours and there's grace. And then you binge. We don't want binging. We want to stop it in its tracks and get you back on plan right away. So if you, again, once you get into boot camp, we have a ton of information about this in particular and a full coaching session on it. But if you are doing the 7-day challenge, you mess up a meal, you eat something that's not on plan, just make sure the next thing that goes in your mouth is an on-plan choice. That's what we're focusing on. Don't start over. If you get into the habit of falling off and feeling like you're going back to square one, typically I find that we don't do as well, and we make it more of a monumental event in our head. And that's a great way to start self-sabotaging, honestly. So I'd like you to get back on track immediately with day 4. If it's day 4 today and you had an off-plan lunch, just eat the next meal on plan. That's the goal. That's the focus. So I want you to do that. I tend to find too that I really discourage language like I'm going to start over. Starting over implies that you're going back to square one or back to the beginning. But if you've been on plan or you're starting on plan, every day is a learning experience, and there's a ton of opportunities to be growing and making progress. Your body may be healing internally in ways that you don't even know about. You could be reducing inflammation. There could be a lot going on there. I hate to hear people discredit themselves and say I'm starting over as if they haven't already done so much that's building up to where they are now. So I look at it not like, getting back to square one. I look at it like, okay, maybe you took a step off the path and now it's time to get back on. If you imagine it like a path that's before you and you've taken 24 steps forward and then you take one little step back, you don't want to go back the 24 steps. You just want to go forward from there. So whenever you maybe mess up a little bit, maybe eat off plan, I want you to focus on getting back on immediately. And like I said, in boot camp, there is an entire meal plan for that. There's the tips and strategies for that. But for now, just make sure your next meal or snack is an on-plan snack. And also consider the principle of falling forward. Let's say you fall on plan, you mess up, you have an accidental crossover, you eat something you weren't planning to. Use that as an opportunity instead of falling backwards and knocking yourself back to move forward. Look at what you can learn from the experience. Is there a way that you could have prepped, planned ahead to avoid going off plan? Is there something you could have figured out about the meal that was an accidental crossover that you could have done a little bit differently and you can do it differently next time? If you look at it as, oops, I am so sorry about that. If you look at it as falling forward instead of falling backwards, I'm so sorry about that. I got an unexpected phone call and I thought my phone was on silent. If you look at it as falling forward and use the opportunities that you have to move forward instead of moving back, you'll do better on plan overall. And those are systems and habits that will help in the long run for sure. So that's what I have to say about getting off track. Just get right back to it. Also, if you do have questions about boot camp, I put together a full new, very detailed page with lots of boot camp information, including testimonials, what's included, what the different weeks cover at thewellplannedkitchen.com/THM bootcamp. At one point, so I did hold some spaces back that I'm releasing over the next few days because the registrations fill up so fast. I know at one point there were a lot of people clicking the registration button at once and some of them weren't able to register, but there are some spots available if you'd like to register now. It does fill up pretty quickly. So that's all I have for today. I hope you're doing a great job on this challenge. And if you're not, I just encourage you to start. I know that you can do a great job with your next meal, and that's the important part. So for day 4, we're checking off listening to THM podcast number 11, brainstorming store-bought foods, and staying on plan, of course. So I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.